Youth Ministers talking about youth ministry. I'm Michael Deese, and I am joined by Jeremy Crow and the illustrious Hunter, the Rad Man Bucket.
I would say looking svelte today. He's getting fit.
Oh yeah, I mean he is sculpted.
Yeah, like
we've lost a good bit of weight, so we're on track.
I have never seen him look this good.
Well,
before.
I think for me, the most impressive thing, we just got back from a week in Maywood.
Yeah.
And our week, and this is going to be very biased, we're the best week.
Far and away.
By far.
Far and away.
But anyways.
Listen, I can say that with confidence because I've been to 3 other weeks of Maywood.
Okay. Well, Michael said it.
So.
I don't know. Lift U's really cool too, but it's kind of separate as college age. But anyways,
it doesn't.
But every single night, our kitchen staff makes homemade ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
And I didn't eat any of it this week. I was very proud of myself. I had one, actually, I take that back. I had one spoonful of the banana homemade ice cream.
I have a question. Something feels a little bit different in the audio. Do you hear it?
You know what?
I think it's
something feels a little tinny.
Something does feel a little weird.
I'm okay with it. But I'm just putting it out there. Something feels different.
Hello?
One of these heathens came and messed it up
Anyways,
in the Hartsville Youth Group.
Maywood was awesome. I will say, without divulging too much information, on the last night, I was awakened in my cabin by a chanting mob of teen boys. I 100% thought that I was going in the lake, and I was very confused by what was happening. I was there was just a lot of that's it. That's what it is. The audio you changed, yeah.
Yep.
Nothing changed for our listeners, but our headphones sounds better.
Oh, that's way better. I feel so much better.
So I was awakened by a mob, and then let them go back to their hill, thinking that I wasn't going to engage them or do anything, and then I rolled a rat tail and went up to the boys' hill and handled some business.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
So for our listeners, Michael is in charge of our evening activities. And we love it because he's in charge and we don't have to be in charge. But he does a great job with it. And one of the evening activities we had was Versus Night. And I want to tell you how fantastic of an idea that was. Is he got all the counselors that were good at something, and then all the kids had to play them in what they were good at.
Hey, Jeremy, what was yours?
Ping pong.
So I'm just curious, how many people actually got your signature saying that they beat you?
How many earned it, or how many?
How many actually earned it?
One.
Yeah, I would say it's one, because he gave some people some points. I was in charge of holding the net because that's how good I am at ping pong.
He didn't earn it. I made a mistake.
But here's the coolest part of that story is Lincoln comes up, which is Jeremy's kid, and he looks at me and goes, "I'm not taking it easy on him." So he gets his first point. And then Lincoln hits it back, and he hits it a little bit too high. And Jeremy comes across the table and saying like, "Oh, you messed up," and just smashed it. And not only that,
then I said, "Next."
Shortly after, his daughter stands up there.
No,
and she's about to go.
Not
and
Elliot.
he looks at Jessica and he says, "Can I play for real?" And she said no. So he had to take it easy on her. But I think there was one person that earned it. The rest of them were kind of given a point. Then the second point was really lucky.
My favorite was, okay, so for the listeners that don't know me, I'm okay at ping pong. I'm actually pretty good at ping pong. And so...
Would you say you're the second best at camp?
I'd say he's the okayest at camp.
I'm the second best at camp for sure. Chris does beat me, and I hate that. So thanks for bringing it up. But I would say that I had this, my versus game was who could score 2 points first, right? So if they could score 2 on me, they got my signature. If I scored 2, then it was next, in the line. And so I scored a point on a kid, and then he scored a point, and he got a little bit cocky about that he scored a point. So for the third point, he hit it over to the right side, like what should be my backhand, and I went around behind my back and smashed it back at him with a behind the back shot.
It was great. The kid didn't even move.
Hey,
it was fantastic.
Patrick Caffey.
Oh, he did the putt.
Yeah.
The putt.
I heard he did well. Trey Durden did well with the archery tag, shoot off. I've known a handful of people that just didn't do well. And then what happened? Did somebody cheat? Because we were down there playing ping pong. Hold on.
Yeah.
Jeremy's just a gracious guy. I'm just going to point that out. Michael called the game's over. Hey, we have a winner. But Jeremy stalled a couple people in line, whether he wanted to beat them and assert his dominance, or whether he was just being a servant, whatever that might have been. But he allowed those kids to keep playing. He said, hey, y'all stay here real quick. It's like 3 or 4 kids.
Let's say it was the second one.
We're going to say it was the second one.
But
so while he was playing and beating these kids, then you said, hey, the game's still on. Everybody ran back down. So what happened? Because we were not there.
So
the lodge.
So there was two things that I was expecting cheating to happen. Okay, number one, the most obvious one is just to explain to the audience. We gave them, each person got a sheet of paper that had boxes on it, and they had to fill up 12 boxes with a autograph or a signature. I went through and talked to.
You had 16 boxes.
There were 16 boxes,
Like
and we did 12.
Yeah, there's 16 games that you could play, but you needed 12 to win.
Right. And so I had 16
he said, sorry,
boxes.
Guys, I put too many lines.
Okay, so they went through, and you get a signature for the person that you beat. Okay, there was 3 counselors that I talked to that I said, hey, no matter what, every time that you sign this, you sign it in these specific boxes. Okay, and so that 16 boxes that I messed up and gave too many actually helped, because one of those signatures was always in the same box. That was not going to be touched if you just did the first 12. So anyways, so that was my way. And I also used red pens so that they couldn't just pick up a regular black or whatever pen and write it. Okay. So,
man, some insight going on right here.
So that was the one way that I was going to combat that. I had a couple kids come up to me, and they gave me their paper, and it had black pen marks, and it was written like what a 6th grade kid would write. And I was like, this isn't real, and I just kind of crumbled it up through the way. These guys came in, and they had a signature from every single person. And I was like, okay, right boxes are filled. Everything looks good. And then I heard one of them say, the other way that I expected cheating, they said, yeah, when he went and did this, he shot the free throw and he got it. And I went, whose paper is this? And he said, this is my paper. And I went, there it is.
Yeah, kids aren't that
They were playing collectively?
They were playing collectively.
Like the whole cabin was working together.
They got 4 or 5 of them, and they said like one of them was really good at basketball, so he did the basketball shot while the other one was doing another one, and then they would take that paper and go get signatures.
Well, let me say this. As the counselor of that group of boys, that's the only thing they did collectively the whole week.
No, that's not the only
because you know what else they did?
That's the only thing that was legal.
They just constantly pranked and abused each other
all I'm going to say is,
for the rest of the week.
All I'm going to say is I've had them for 2 straight years.
That's
I'm
true.
glad that somebody else had them.
Yeah. Amen.
I'm also a little bit sad because they're a lot of fun.
Also,
they are fun.
They're a lot of fun. But
was I up at 2 a.m. getting the kids' stuff off the lake? I was.
Yeah. I did hear about that one.
Yeah, that's
like supposedly they put it beside the lake, and then all of a sudden it was on a boat in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
the
fishy. The best moment was they were like, "We've looked everywhere in the camp for his stuff. There's no." And I said, "Did you look at the lake?" And they were like, "We shot all across the lake." I said, "Did you look in the boats?" And they were like, "They were both there." I said, "There's 3 boats." I said, "Your stuff is in the lake."
So, anyways, they work together. They fill out the form. Now, that's the 2 ways that I expected cheating. Yeah. Okay. I'm going through it, and then they say, no, I swear I really did this one. This was all me. And so I go through and I read the ones, and he's like, yeah, I did this one by myself. I get to one of them, and I'm like, dude, every single one of these, you're having to like go through and talk to me and tell me which ones are which. And at the end, I just said, okay, I'm just going to trust you, and you're going to go do it. And so I gave it to the kid. I let him go, let him do his thing, and then I had another kid that came up and was like, hey, I've only got 2 things left. Okay. Granted, this one kid has like 5, but I've given him, I just kind of put my initials beside him to say that he got those by himself. So about 3 or 4 minutes later, here comes him. He's running up. He's got a paper, and I'm talking with him, and I look at the paper, and everything looks good. And so I say, hey, everybody, we have a winner. Everybody comes.
No, this is the first time you called winner?
This is the second time.
Oh, the second.
Yeah, this is the second time. So
when we actually have a winner.
Yeah, and so I bring everybody in. This is the lodge. He comes in, same guy as before, And I'm going through his thing, looking at it, reading through it, and it looks good. And then about 3 minutes after that, another kid comes running up and he puts his paper down on the thing and he says, Michael, these guys held me down and wouldn't let me come up here. He's like, I've been done for like 5 minutes.
Now that checks out. That's my guys.
That was the one way that I didn't think about people cheating, and I should have, but I didn't
tying
think that
somebody to a tree so they can't get
exactly. And so finally, he gets up there, and then it gets like 4 or 5 people are like, yeah, that's what happened. They held him down, wouldn't let him.
Oh,
come
is that why they threw you in the lake?
And so then I said, okay, y'all are disqualified.
Yeah.
And we're done. This kid wins. Yeah, congratulations. Y'all get to go. And then all of a sudden, Jeremy starts coming toward me. And he's reaching in my pockets. And he grabs my phone. And I went, oh crap. And they all just surrounded me.
And they're chanting my favorite camp chant.
It started going,
in the lake.
It started out like this. In the lake. In the lake. In the lake. In the lake, in the lake, and they all just started chanting it, and I just was like, "It's over." So I just let them take me.
So the great moment was literally they pick you up and carry you to the lake, and then Michael says something to the effect of, "I'm doing this. Don't throw me in. Right? I'll jump in." And so
no,
what
that's
was the
not right.
what was the phrase you said before?
That's not right.
What did you say?
They said we're gonna throw you. I said, listen, I want y'all to throw me in, but I want to pull my pants up.
Oh, hey, there it is.
And I was like, my pants are off. They're around my knees. I would really enjoy pulling them up so that I'm not just mooning everyone.
Just bare butt.
And they're like, no, you better not jump in. I'm like, I don't care to jump in. You can throw me in. You can do whatever you want. Just let me pull my pants up.
Well, they took you, and I was like, I don't think they've realized that they've kind of gated off that entire dock where you just can't jump off the end anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So they had to, lift you and just get you over that part. But
Right.
I guess
And
they
so
figured it out. I saw the video.
They finally they threw me in. I got to pull my pants up, and then they threw me in. And then they did graciously help me up. Like after they threw me in,
yeah. Look,
they reached down.
You
they
paid
helped
your
me up,
punishment,
and then I got out.
You did your time.
Everything was good. And they were talking about I bet it's so cold. I bet it's freezing cold.
Probably felt great.
Wasn't.
Nah,
It
it
felt
was
great.
warm,
It
yeah.
felt great. Yeah, there was nothing wrong.
The pool was a little chilly, but it wasn't terrible.
I didn't walk into the pool other than baptisms one time. Like never during free time. Never did I go to the pool once.
I did one time with my kids, and then they cried, so we left. So that was great. Yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
I love when people do the in the lake and like I just think that's such a good
it's just such a good chant.
camp moment.
In the lake.
Yes.
In the lake.
And everyone,
man.
everyone except for the person being thrown in enjoys that.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I was being thrown in. I enjoyed it.
No.
Now, I actually looked around and thought,
Aside
wow.
from the snakes, I think it could be okay.
And it was dark at that point too.
I was looking around and I thought, wow, I have never seen them so united in one thing before in my life.
Yes.
I am so proud of them.
And then shortly after that, they're pranking each other.
And,
That's
and
right.
I quickly built some street cred with my cabin when I stole your phone.
yeah.
When I
Yeah,
got your
yeah.
phone, that gained me some
I
points.
got
That
some
was-
respect on that.
Absolute, street cred.
But overall, it was a great week in Maywood. We
I
really
loved
enjoyed
it.
it.
It was a great
I thought
week.
Jeremy did
Yeah.
fantastic with the evening devotionals. I mean, everything went smooth. We had a really good group of kids, great counselors.
The director of pop did a great job.
That's true.
Director of pop had all the pop ready to drink.
Yeah, it was fun.
The pop director.
The pop director. I will say, on the last night when it got a little weird, Sam and I did proclaim peace on the Boys Hill.
That's
we,
true.
We came to a treaty,
Y'all did.
and
That was
there
impressive.
was peace.
And a prayer.
And a
prayer.
And we ended with a prayer.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was great.
What are we talking about today, Michael?
Today, we are talking about Maywood Christian Camp, apparently, because we've spent 15 minutes.
Well,
That's
a great,
okay.
It is a
Camp.
great camp. We had
That's
a lot
okay.
of fun. Camp is one of the most looked upon things when it comes to a summer calendar.
Yeah.
We're excited for camp, or our kids are excited for camp. They absolutely love camp.
What was something that stood out to you this year about camp?
I'm going to give a shout out to somebody, Jake Bailey.
Man,
I love Jake Bailey. I've
was
always
awesome.
loved Jake Bailey, but man, he stepped up this year. He's officially graduated from Faulkner. He's about to go start his own. He's about to go start his own youth ministry.
That's right.
But he put in his contract that he wanted to be off this week so he could go to camp with everybody And we've talked in the recent episodes of Mr. Nicky Presnell passing away, and he was in charge of our fun sing. So it was cool getting to see Chris kind of pass that torch to Jake, and Jake just having fun with it and being goofy and doing Jake things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll just say, like I told you, I said I'd been to 3 other ones. I've been to 3 weeks of camp. So I've been to Jackie Fox week. I've been to the Florence week, and I went to 1 week that was like a hybrid week.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you, I have never, there's no fun sing with the other weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. They do VBS songs, and it's fun for the little kids, but the high school kids really don't get into it, and they really don't care. Most of them just stay in their cabins. They complain the whole time. And I mean, when I say most, I mean like 75% of anyone over the age of 12, they don't go, or they avoid it like the plague, or they sit in the very back, don't participate. Now, that's with the other 2 weeks. The week that we go, because of the legend of Nicky Presnell, allowing kids to get out and be goofy and be funny and have fun, along with some of the kids. I mean, like a lot of the kids were willing to put themselves out there, and it resulted in
something magical.
People having fun. I mean,
Yeah.
and we don't do like VBS songs. Like, we're not doing This Little Light of Mine. We're doing songs that Nicky Presnell wrote himself that other weeks don't even know exist.
Yeah.
Those songs don't exist in
Well,
other weeks.
he made a lot of the songs up.
He did. Yeah.
So one of my favorite is Buford. I love
Yeah.
that song. And I don't know if you were here when it happened, but one year they were trying to boycott, and there's a part in the song that says, "Mama, don't you whoop little Buford? I wish you would shoot him instead."
Yeah.
And there was a year, and you remember this,
Yeah.
where they were trying to boycott shooting, and like, what'd they change it to?
Yeah. Love him instead.
Yeah, love him instead. And like, it lasted like the first verse of that song, and then the next time it got to it, everybody was shooting him again.
Good.
So
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
That's the way it needs to
but
go.
like, it's fun, and it's enjoyable to watch those kids.
What about
just
the
be
Rooster
goofy.
song? Did we sing the Rooster song this year?
You know, the rooster that impregnates everything.
Yeah.
We didn't sing that one this year.
Are you sure?
Well, okay.
I'm-
honesty moment.
as the director of
I don't
pop,
go to
I
Fun
don't.
Sing very
Yeah, as a
often.
director of pop, I'm having to get Fun Sing, or I'm having to get Canteen ready during Fun Sing, so I miss out a lot of it.
Can we
but-
call him the king of pop?
No, that was my official title that I gave
Or just
myself
MJ.
was the
MJ.
junior associate director.
HP.
But
My boy HP, the king of pop.
During Fun Sing, I was usually finding a love poem
Oh, yeah.
at camp somewhere.
That's right. But I also wanted to say, Jake Bailey, you killed it. It was
Yeah,
great.
man.
You did such a great job. And I said all that to say that I saw the same energy with you doing the Fun Sing stuff as I did with Nicky Presnell. And so,
Which is a big
that's
compliment.
That's saying a lot.
Because it could have been really, really down.
If it
this
was
year.
me, it would have been. I would have done my best. You know, I really would have. I would have tried my absolute hard, but I wouldn't have been able to do what Jake did.
So something that we could mention is that it took like 3 to 4 people to cover all the things that Nicky did by himself.
That's right.
Like I do the evangelistic period thing. Well, Nicky used to do that. Jake did the Fun Sing. Nicky used to do that. Some other guys took care of the Bible class.
Yeah.
Nicky used to do that. And I had, in the director's hut, Hunter stepped in that role, but Nicky used to be a person that was a voice in the director's hut when there was an issue or conflict, and Hunter got to have his share of that
Yeah.
this year. We won't go
Man.
into all those, but that person that he was always on the couch when you'd go in there at night, and if there was a conflict or something going on, he was hashing it out with our director and with the others that are leading in the director's hut, and kind of figuring out, how do we help this kid? How do we help this family? How do we navigate this hard situation, whatever it is? Everybody had to step up and fill one person's role, and it just shows you how towering of a person he was in our camp.
Yeah.
So
Well, I had made my bed. It was the same bed I use, or the same bed I sleep in for Lift You in the director's hut. And I made it, and I think Chris walked in. I said, "Hey, does anybody usually sleep right here? I don't want to get in anybody's way." And his family called him Peepaw. He said, "No, that was Peepaw's bed." I was like, "Man," I said, "It's gonna be tough." But it was a fun week. We had a really good time.
it was good.
another thing I really enjoyed, I don't think any of the adults headed it up, but the kids would go to the storm shelter at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they'd all start singing, and they'd sing for an hour and a half or so.
Hey, speaking of the storm shelter singing, I got to speak on the intercom for the first time ever this year. It was awesome. It was better than I could have ever dreamed. I got on there and I said, storm shelter singing is at 3 o'clock. That's in 10 minutes. If you'd like to go, please make your way to the storm shelter just outside the gate of Camp Maywood. Thank you. That is all.
When you get to do the that is all mic drop,
That felt so
better.
good. That felt so good. I got to say that is all. That was all I cared about.
Yeah, it was good. I would say one of the other things we did this year that was different was we celebrated Carol Brown. And what was it, 40 years that she served?
Yeah, 40 years.
The legendary Mama
I don't know if
Carol.
she served as a craft person for 40 years or if she's just served in some facet as a counselor or you know, something at camp. But we've definitely had, we were blessed with people that have been around a long time and have served in a role a long time, and they do it very well. And she's just one example of that. So it was cool.
Yeah, growing up, it's kind of cool. When I was younger, growing up, doing my thing there, she, for whatever reason, was just and something that I've realized too. This is one of the things that I've realized. She would just go out of her way to make sure I was having a good week. You know, she'd give me a hug. She'd even give me a kiss, and she'd tell me how much she loved me. And she'd say, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow." Just always encouraging, always nice, always real sweet. And I felt like I had it was just mine and her thing. It was like she loved me like a grandma, like a grandma would love me. But I soon realized that she had that relationship with everyone.
Yeah.
Every single person felt like they had this individual connection with her, but it was because she was doing that with everyone, not just me, not just, a couple of my friends, but every single person. And the same was true with Nicky Presnell. After he passed, I remember talking to Jeremy, and me and Jeremy discussing stuff, and he was like, I feel like he was my granddad. I really do. And I said, that's what I feel like. I feel like he was my granddad. I feel like me and him were so close, and and then I talked to 10 different other people, and they're like, he was like a granddad to me.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, how in the world how do you do that? How do you have that connection with every single person that you interact
with? For
with?
both of them, they love everybody. Yep. It doesn't matter if they just met you. It doesn't matter if they've known you your entire life. They absolutely love you.
Yeah.
And that's what you can feel from both of them, especially Mama Carol. I mean, every time, and of course she goes to our church, but every time I see her, she's telling me how much she loves me and how much, she appreciates what we do. But that's her. I mean, she does crafts all the time. I mean, she goes and plans it all out. She even does it for Lift University as well, for all the college kids. And they have just as much fun as our week of Maywood does in crafts.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't have more fun than my kids do at crafts.
The thing that's interesting that, talking about ministry is this is kind of what you're tasked with your students too, right?
Yeah.
Is to create an environment where everyone feels that kind of connection or love from you. They may not have the same interests as you and may not always align on their ideas of things, but to feel like they know that they are loved by you is a big deal.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes around to what makes camp incredible, and that also goes to what makes youth ministry incredible. Having that connection where everyone feels like they have their own separate connection with you, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
and something cool. This is now outside of camp a little bit. We spent the whole week talking about serving, talking about going and doing. And I think that's what our first Bible class was supposed to be, this idea of the Great Commission. And we actually got to make that happen Monday, didn't we? Like yesterday. We're recording on Tuesday. This will be released on Wednesday. But Monday, we've decided as our area, we're not going to do our usual area Decatur work camp, which, it is a big hit for us, but it's getting super expensive. It's very difficult to put on. So what we decided to do was we're going to have 4 days throughout the summer that are dedicated to serving in a great way. So we got to go over to Coleman, right next to the Coleman Church of Christ, a Child Haven. We got to help them out, do great things over there, and spend time with them, and that's a great thing. But I was more impressed with how many kids showed up.
Yeah,
I mean, we
Did
had
anybody get a count?
that was a major improvement.
we had a
over
ton of
last time we
kids
did.
show up, and it's they're hearing what you're teaching. So if you are a youth minister out there and you feel like your kids aren't listening, or you feel like you're not connecting, or something's missing, they are listening to you.
Yeah.
And they are taking what you're saying to heart, and I feel like Monday we got to see the fruit of our labors happen just with how many kids showed up. I mean, we were supposed to be laying mulch nearly most of the morning. I think we got it done in like half the time because we had so many people there helping.
And there was people just standing around.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough work for the amount of people that showed up,
Right.
which was okay. But yeah, and I think we also, there's something to be said about consistency in this too, with youth ministry and engagement and activity. We're coming off of a great week of camp. Most of the kids that were there yesterday were kids that were at camp. We'd seen them from Sunday to Saturday, and then we said, hey, take a day off. We'll see you back Monday together, right? Yeah. And they were all in, and it was pretty cool. And it was kind of a reunion day for everybody. You missed seeing your buddy from camp from 2 days ago.
They act like they hadn't seen each other in a year.
Yeah.
Spend a day.
Well, when we pulled in, like 3 or 4 of my kids got out, and they were like, "It's just like Maywood." That's really what they said, and they ran out. It was pretty funny.
We've got coming up in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, we leave for Harding University for Uplift Camp, which is our next big trip camp for us, and I think Hartselle too is their big trip coming up. And we got multiple kids that have signed up that like are friends of our kids at camp that don't go to Coleman. That have I've got like 4 kids coming that are just buddies from camp that my kids were talking up. Hey, you want to go to the next camp with us?
Yeah.
And so we added them in. We're excited about it.
Hey, speaking of, I've got to say this. I was lucky enough to get the Coleman kids in my cabin this year.
I'm waiting for that cabin to get to me.
The high school Coleman kids.
To be honest, you should have had them in your cabin this year.
I know you took them.
No. The issue was there was one more Beltline kid that wanted to be with all the Beltline kids, and that's how many spaces I had compared to the Coleman kids, so I had to flop them. Originally, the Coleman kids were in the lodge, but they were more, one or the other, they had more that they wanted to be with, so one of them had to move down, the other one got to move up.
So I think what I'm hearing is that me and Sam are going to take the lodge next year.
Move Jeremy down.
And move Jeremy
To the
down
director's
Tyre.
hut.
To the director's hut.
I'll sleep at night.
But
That was really nice, though, not going to lie.
Yeah. Like you get done with the stupidity at like 10 o'clock and you go to bed.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. On Thursday, I was a zombie.
Yeah.
An absolute zombie. I think Jeremy saw me holding my little baby, their daughter. She's 1. And
I felt bad for you.
And falling asleep in the
I said, you want me to hold her for a little bit?
Falling asleep.
I thought you were going to drop her.
I was dead. I mean, I could not continue.
Okay,
That was really cool, too. Both of our wives got to be there and our kids.
Yeah.
We usually don't get that luxury. They got an Airbnb in town, and they were able to come up every single day so we could see them and they could enjoy Maywood. We have a pre-campers class. They got to enjoy the class.
My kids love Maywood.
Yeah.
I mean, they are like Emerson's talking about wanting to go. You know,
Airbnb, not yet a sponsor, but soon.
Could be. Could be just for the week of Maywood. That's all we need.
That's right. I'll ask them about it. I'll send out.
Yeah, send another request. I'm sure they're looking for some new youth ministry podcasts to sponsor. I think that it went great. I think all in all, we had a really good week. And our devotionals at night were great. The speakers did a fantastic job. We had Infusion came out and did the worship on Wednesday night. I thought that went well.
They were great.
I thought that we handled things with the loss of Nikki. I thought we navigated that well. To acknowledge it,
it was
to express the grief of that everybody was collectively feeling, and then we moved on and proceeded with the week. And I thought that was a good, give recognition and honor, make his family know that he was appreciated. And then we move on and not dwell on it and not drag the kids through it constantly, but just move past it and have a great week of camp. And I think that's what Nikki would have hoped would have happened, in the post time of his life. So
yeah, I'll tell you, ever since Brooklyn's been born, I just get more emotional.
Oh,
it's unbelievable. Like I never cried before Brooklyn being born, and like I cried during Nikki, or I'm not going to say I cried. I had some really bad allergies during Nikki's video. I had,
Yeah,
the
some of us cutting onions right beside me.
Man, and the senior goodbyes are tough too.
I was just bawling my eyes out the whole time.
Oh, and
I wasn't. Nobody was cutting
did
onions or
great,
nothing.
too.
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I'm sure every camp does this. I mean, there's no way they don't. But we do senior goodbyes. All the seniors get to say something about Maywood, and they get to speak and listen to Dalton Durden talk about all the memories that he had from camp. And I'm thinking, Brooklyn's gonna be in that same boat. Same with your kids. Is they're gonna basically just grow up at camp. What are they going to experience? What are they going to talk about when they're in that position? And it's just a very powerful night. That our seniors get to talk. We surround them. We sing "Surround Us." Have a prayer. It's always fun.
Something we've started doing. So I have the older cabin, with the Davis Lodge, which is typically 17, 18-year-olds. Most of them are either coming up seniors or just graduated. And then the counterpart to that is Joppa, which is the girls' version of that age. And we typically do something at night every night together with the two oldest cabins. And typically on our second to last night, on Thursday night, we typically do what I call deep talks, and we go in the cafeteria and I pose some questions that are, I start with some base level, kind of surface level stuff. And then we slowly get more intrusive with talking about, what's really going on in your life and the kind of moments of confession, moments of support, of encouragement from their peers. It's a really cool moment. We had one this year that, he shared some things that were pretty hard that he's gone through in his past and his childhood. And he was a new kid to the camp, and he shared some really deep things. And we moved, past that. And then a few minutes later, another kid raised his hand. He said, "Can I go back to that?" And I said, "Sure." And he addressed that kid. He said, "I want you to know that I've been through something like that, and you're not alone. And if you need somebody, I'm here." And that was a cool moment, right? To see a student take that role of discipleship and also encouragement with his peer. It was a pretty moving moment.
I saw a really cool moment. One of my students got baptized. I got to do it. It was awesome. And as soon as I finished, one of the very first things he did, he got up and he hugged his sister, and he said, "Hey, me and you get to take Lord's Supper together on Sunday."
Oh. And then you're like, somebody's cutting onions again.
I was like,
somebody's cutting onions.
I couldn't do it. But yeah, I mean, moments like that are really what make camp.
Yeah.
You're sleep deprived, you're worn out, you're tired, you're sore. You don't eat ice cream, Hunter.
Yeah. It was miserable. It was not fun. I wouldn't recommend that.
We had one in those older talks that Lucas Manning was talking about what he loves about camp, and and he said, and this was very sweet. He said, "I really love this week because I don't get to spend a lot of time with my sister at home because of all the busyness." He said, "And I get to spend a lot of time with my little sister."
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of,
like, man, what a good moment.
I love doing this thing where people tell me their name and I call them something different.
Yes.
Like if you say your name's Jeremy, I'll call you Jacob, or something like that, just so that they know, like, I know what your name is, but I'm calling you. And his sister is one of the ones that I do that to every single time.
What do you call her?
And she's like,
Marcy.
Yeah, and she's like, "My name's Marcy," and I'm like, "Okay, Marcy." I just keep going. It's great.
Yeah, whatever, Marcy.
It's a lot of fun. So anyways, camp's awesome. And if you are not in a camp, we highly suggest going to Maywood Christian Camp. It's a great camp.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, we've gone and done retreats and stuff at ICYC. Nayadi is a great camp. SCYC is another one.
There's Mid-South over near in Henderson.
That's
one of my kids in my cabin left to go to Wiregrass.
Yeah, Wiregrass is good.
So hey, actually, send us a comment about your camp experience wherever you go, wherever you take your youth ministries.
And if you've got an awesome story,
and if you have a good story, share it with us, and we'll put it on the pod. We'll talk about it on the podcast.
And we'll also, in the show notes, we're going to post a link to our video of our camp. We always do a video of the last night, and we just enjoy watching it. It's kind of a recap of what's happened. You get to see the founding fathers on day one.
That was incredible. That was the best
when they were
thing
crossing
I have
the
ever seen in my
But
whole
you
life.
know those boats
And
are
he's
like
got 3 children.
400-pound capacity.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not like sturdy boats.
Yeah.
And it was well over capacity with those 5 guys sitting on it.
That was incredible. That
It was awesome.
Absolutely incredible.
But we will post the show notes for that. Also, our next episode, our next series is Michael. What we needed them to respond about something.
Yeah.
I just didn't remember what it was.
What I wish I knew. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So our series that we will be soon. Beginning. Have y'all seen that video?
Words are tough.
In the beginning. Y'all should watch that video. It's really good. Anyways, what I wish I knew. So everyone who is a youth minister or has worked with youth ministry in some capacity, what are some things that you wish you would have known? Like, I wish I knew this before my first retreat. I wish that I knew this when I confronted a student about something he was consumed by. I wish that I knew this before I got burnt out. And
Just whatever that situation might be. Just something you wish you knew in ministry.
yeah, and then share that with us. Comment on our thing. You can send me an email, oksyouthministry@gmail.com. You can put it on our website and put a comment on there.
You can send a carrier pigeon.
Yeah,
Just
carrier
Send an
pigeons.
owl. Also on our stories for Facebook and Instagram, we'll post that a couple of times throughout this week, just so people can comment. And if you miss it, we'll post it again later in the week.
Yeah.
But just share with us something that you wish that you knew when it comes to ministry.
Yeah. What's something that you wish you knew when it comes to ministry? Either one of you. Something that you wish you knew.
That, and we've talked about this before, but that my professionalism and my consistent communication is going to make a huge difference in how people receive or perceive me in ministry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parents play a bigger role than you expect in ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I wish I would have known is how it's kind of has a lot to do with it, but how little of a role we actually play in the grand scheme of things. You know, and not to say that there's some students that we'll have a larger role in, but to realize, hey, we need to lean more on our church and the parents and the members than we need to depending on ourselves. So,
one of the things I would say, and I know we're going to have a bunch of these in a series, but not that I'm discrediting Bible knowledge, but that I'm going to spend a lot more time in relational conversations than in Bible studies with students.
that's correct.
By far.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that Bible study doesn't matter or that I don't need to be good at that, but I'm going to spend a ton of time dealing with conflict and relationships.
Yeah. People don't care how much you know.
Till they know how much you care.
What just
All
happened?
right. Jeremy's had a
People
busy
don't know
morning.
how much you
It's been
care
a long day.
until
He said it's been a long day. It's 8:46 right now.
they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Yeah.
I don't know what in the world is going on.
So do please share your comments on that. Something you wish you knew, or something maybe you wish you knew sooner in ministry. And we're looking forward to discussing that, opening it up, and we're going to share, of course, some more things that we wish we knew. But we'd love to dive into some things that you wish you knew as well.
Yep. All right. Do y'all have anything else y'all want to talk about before we go? All right. Go to Camp Maywood. Camp Maywood's great. Go to whatever camp it is.
Any camp.
Share that with us.
Get involved.
Tag us in it. Camp is a huge deal to your students, whether you realize it or not. If you don't go to a camp, you need to find one that you can go to,
Or start one.
I
don't know how hard that would be, but
It's really not that difficult. You just have to kind of rent out a place, and it's really not.
Start one.
Yeah, it's great. All right. Well, check out our website at www.oksyouthministry.com and comment on our socials. We're going to post some stuff along with this episode and hopefully get some responses so we can talk about some of the things that you guys are dealing with in your ministries. And
we hope that your ministry is blessed.
Thanks for joining us today in the important conversation of youth ministry. Go and follow us on Instagram and check out oksyouthministry.com for more information about our upcoming episodes. We'll be dropping a new episode every Wednesday morning, and we look forward to talking with you again next week. And hey, it's okay to be the OKS youth minister around, but let's all strive to be just a little bit better.